Welcome back to Holy Living Podcast, where we love boldly,
Teach humbly.
and live holy. This is season 2, and I'm Kennedy Monet.
I'm Bria Ward, and we are back with what is it? We just having a casual conversation. Many times I love when you'll see more of me and Ken, because me and Ken we talk regularly on
All
a
day.
daily basis, and so when we go and chit chat, it's just gonna be like what we regularly do, like.
Yep.
We just have these random conversations about everything in life. And so because we live in holy, we teach in, but I get that little saying. I get our saying mixed up a little bit, but because we do that in our lives, we live both. I mean, we live holy, we teach humbly, and we love boldly. That's what you'll see in our podcast. That's the kind of conversations that will
Authenticity.
Authenticity. I'm authentic. Hey, authentic.
Right.
So, but I wanted to start off asking, how was your childhood? Like, what kind of kid was you? Because we deal with children on a daily basis, starting school, right?
Yes.
So, how were you when you were a child?
So I wasn't, what's the word? I wasn't rude. I wasn't a disrespectful child. But I was a sneaky. Sneaky when it came to boys, in a sense. So like I'm respectful. I'll never disrespect an authority, an adult. You tell me to do something, I'm gonna do it, right? But when it came to, because I wasn't allowed to date, when it came to different things like that, I was like, that's what I was. But other than that, I was respectable. I was a respectable child. And I listened. They told me to get up and go do something.
Yeah.
I did it immediately. So like it wasn't like,
and I can see that because can you respect authority even like as far as when we go out of town, right? We go out of town. I'm the type that you give me the directions to where we going. I'm not trying to follow. I'm not trying to whoosh, whoosh, turn this lane. At the last minute, you didn't switch lanes, and I just don't like that chaos. I just feel like that's chaotic. But you, when we go out of town, you're like, okay, who's the driver in front of us? Okay, he told us to pull over. We're gonna pull over. You told us he gonna do that. Look, and so I can see like,
I don't want to be in trouble.
Exactly.
I don't want to be in trouble. We just gonna do as they say, and we ain't got no problem.
Yeah,
I'm
more, and that was like showing up in I like rules, but I like to abide by rules on my own time. Okay. And that a lot of times get you in trouble. That got me because I was real smart mouthy. Like, I'm good at school. That's your bigger. I'm cool at school. I do the chores with a little complaining, little talk back. But I'm more of like, I'll do it and I want to do it, but it's gonna be at my own pace. Like you said, that one time when we was dealing with the kids, they like how sometimes you tell them to come here. Yeah. And they just act like they was gonna do it anyway. Like you didn't make me do it.
And not acknowledge.
And not even that was me. I was that type of kid.
Yeah. And I used to think I used to want that issue. Because I just felt like promiscuity was just it was just
attached
like
to
it
you.
was I couldn't break it. Like I wanted to, like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to have these feelings. I don't want to have, and it's like I couldn't shake it. So I wish I was just disrespectful.
Yeah,
I wish that was my only problem, where I was disrespectful.
Crazy.
But I mean, it paid off.
And even with promiscuity, like how, because we wanted to talk about how the porn, PORN, the parent that nobody talks about, and how a lot of times things get attached to us in our childhood that kind of carries along with us. Like in the scripture, it says, train up a child in the way that they should go, and they should never depart from it.
Yep.
A lot of times we get attached to promiscuity. We get attached to addictions. We get attached to perversions as we're a child, and it grows up with us and teaches us how to do things. And we wanted to talk on that as far as like, getting introduced to that world and how it affected our minds, because like even growing up, like you still like dealing with that, you still like battling that perversion in your mind.
Yep. And it's because it starts so young. It, like you said, it basically is the parent.
Yeah,
aspect. Like it changes how you may look at love, how you may look at different things, look at people, look at
so
you
true.
Can't be just brother and sister with somebody.
That's
There
so
has to
true.
be a desire there.
Yeah,
like like it has to be. There's no
it's no purity
in it because it's been normalized in your head. And
Come
even
on
talking
now.
about that, because a lot of times lust and porn and all that comes with it is being normalized now.
It
To where
is.
if you're not doing it, now something is wrong with you.
It
But
is.
growing up, that was something that you hide,
It
right?
is.
It's like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, I can't, I don't want to start that. Even when I was breaking the porn addiction and masturbation and lust, I remember I was doing a hardcore study. Okay, I was doing a hardcore study because I had to become a SME at what I wanted to be. Like, I had to be like, okay, if I'm not going to do, where did this come from? Right? I know it came from me being like, a child. I had all these things, I had all these desires. I was molested, all this different stuff, but there has to be a root cause, right? And so I remember when I was doing a study about it, and it was more so, sorry, real quick. More now, even in the study, they say, in order to not to do self-harm to yourself, masturbate. Craziest thing ever. In replacing it, it's like a replacement.
Crazy.
Yes, a replacement. And so, like, as I was like, there was some way I wanted to do something to myself. I wasn't happy. I was not happy in my current mind state, how I was thinking, what I was doing, and I wanted an outlet. Just like it's just
That's
like the
so
same thing
true.
as
Like stressful.
stress relief is, and that's what is used for, and that's what they say that is used for. But when I was doing the study, they said that that's how people do stuff, and they give that to them, say it's okay because you're not
hurting anybody else.
Rather you do this than self-harm. But in all actuality, that's what it is, because masturbation, the root of master is you.
Or you bet. What? You didn't throw that in there. You didn't throw that in there.
Yes, and
You a
master, you a
slave.
slave to it. And so I said, okay, I can no longer be a slave to this thing that I think I got control. I remember I think I sent something, or I think I'm in control because I'm doing it to myself. In all actuality, you become a slave, and it's mastered you. It has you. I remember writing something and like how it affected. I wanted to be by myself. I wanted to not, and it was like, I knew that the feeling afterward was coming, but that didn't matter. When it comes to seeing, when it comes to, and so take all this. This is what you're giving at a young age, right? So this is what I have at a young age. So now I'm perfecting my sin. Like, I'm perfecting as I get older.
Girl, you said
it's like a perfection in everything that I do. And in the sin,
come on,
I know how to hide it. I know how to cover it. I know how to do this. I know how to do this. Oh wow, we think that we got it under control, but it's master. It's taking control over us.
That is so crazy because it does teach you how to be sneaky. It does teach you how to love being by yourself. Wait till everybody leaves. Like go. I'm waiting. It teaches you isolation, and it's so crazy how like we're taking, especially like POR, and I don't know if we go get. I gotta spell it. Please be spellers on this thing, because I don't know if they like flag it or something.
Okay.
So with PORN, we start studying what sex is, right? An intimate interaction between a husband and wife. It starts becoming defiled by what we got, these worldly people, people that don't necessarily, they start I did a study. Why am I doing studies on? I did a study, or I watched a lot of films about like prostitutes and about sex trafficking and about how how that industry works. And you have these young girls that are kind of forced into it, mastered by other people, not even necessarily mastered by ourselves, but mastered by other people, beat into it, taken from their family. And sometimes people even voluntarily do that because they believe that they need a way to make money fast and that they are, lords over their own bodies and they can do whatever they want with it.
Right.
To, make those, career, they call it a career decision, so we have these young women and we have these men that get on camera and try to show us what it is, what a sacred thing is. And they defile it and they make it kind of dirty. When it's not necessarily supposed to be like that. And so they give you your children, they give us an early introduction of how, like, we're not supposed to be feeling good about it. It's like a tentedness to it. Like, then you have all these different disgusting scenarios within it, and it's like it makes you start seeing the world as that. Like, okay, you about to order pizza, or you about to do something like this, or you got a cousin, or and it creates these disgusting scenarios, and it teaches you that nothing is pure no more.
Yeah.
Like you said, like you not even just brothers and sisters in Christ. Like everything is tainted, and so it's so crazy how we are allowing, because children, if they're not stopped, if they're not watched, then they're going to continue to do whatever it is. And so it's we're allowing, because parents are not talking about it. The parent that porn is the PORN is the parent that nobody talks about.
Yeah.
Because these parents are not talking about it, you allow that space for children to grow up and thinking that sex is disgusting. Well, not even disgusting, but it's a platform that should be hidden, that should be covered, that shouldn't be talked about. It's disgusting. You can do whoever, whenever with it. You can do it with as many people as you want with it. And make it disgusting, and it's so hard for us to kind of children to bounce back from that. Because like you said, like when I was starting to bounce back from that, come out of that disgustingness, God had to kind of peel all of the lies back.
Yeah.
I had to start learning about new relationships now. I got to start learning about what sex is now.
Yes, that's good. Even because when you start peeling stuff back, you start peeling back. So PORN, also when you are looking at stuff and doing stuff, it also generates like a loneliness. So you may not feel that way, but you feel lonely. So now you have loneliness that you're dealing with. Now you have shame. Now you have guilt. And because you felt that in that moment, and then you didn't know how to deal with the situation, but you just go on about, because it's like leaving a door. It's like leaving a door open or a window open. Yeah. You let the air in, but if you continuously to let that door open and let that window up, the cold air is gonna still come in.
Come on,
even
now.
If you don't want it to, the cold air that what's outside,
is
still gonna come into the home. And so you have to deal with, okay, I gotta break this thing of loneliness. I gotta break this thing of I'm not just an object. I gotta break this thing of this is how people love me.
Come on,
I gotta break this thing of just feeling like the shame or depression, anxiety, all this stuff. It puts a blinder, and then it confirms, like the rape myths that we have. Like, nobody's gonna care. You allowed yourself to give, like, it's like it confirms. It's like, because, and not like the devil is knowing what he's doing, and it's like, I gotta peel this back. This is not right. This is not right. How I'm feeling is not right. And a lot of times, because I know that I dealt with a lot of spirits, because I opened myself up to these things. In PORN, I open myself up to these things. So now I literally have to, okay, I don't have to be lonely. I don't have to be by myself.
Exactly.
I don't have to have anxiety. I don't have to have depression. I don't have to have shame. I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to feel vulnerable. I don't have to feel all these things that I grew up feeling, right? Because that was my parent. The parent that nobody wants to talk about, it told me that you got to be by yourself.
Exactly.
The parent that nobody wants to talk about told me to look down on myself. The parent that nobody wants to talk about shamed me for doing things. The parent that nobody wants to, like, the parent, they trained me and told me how to position myself in order for me to keep giving myself over. Giving myself over, knowing that I was going to feel this way. And I think I talked to you before about how we remember how we felt after, but that feeling how we felt after is not good enough, right? So we have that. Okay, so you be like, oh, I'm not gonna do it ever again, right? Yeah. No more. And then that moment, that's what you feel. Yeah. Right.
You feel disgusted.
Yeah. Because this parent also doesn't comfort you afterwards.
Girl,
it gets you in trouble. Like, there's no comforting. It's gonna tell you to do what it wants you to do, but there's no consoling. There's no, like, as a parent, baby, okay, I know you messed up, let me get you back on the right track. That's not what this parent does, right? And so it's gonna point their finger back at you. What if a parent got done and was like, look what you've been doing, like turning and unlike God, right? Unlike God and his love, that's what this parent does. I was telling you how we can, okay, I'm not done. And I'm done. And then we go back and then we're in that same situation, but we don't remember that guilt. We don't remember it because that's not enough. And talking about how I had to be delivered from it, just remembering how I felt that last time is not enough. I have to do some work. Come on. Right? Because just saying no is not going to cut it, but I had to do some work. I had to, okay, God, I have to be a child of God. I had to take cover. I had to go under somebody else. Come on. Because who I've been allowing to parent me has not been doing this. It's not the parent that I want. Come right? On now. And so I had to, okay, God, I'm a child of God. I'm no longer a child of Satan. I'm a child of God. 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 And eventually that's that peeling. But if you're a child of God, you have to act like one, right?
Come on now.
And so I had to remove myself from feeling that way, right? Because if I'm by myself, right? I'm by myself and I'm feeling like this, that's how that parent tries to come back. Yeah, tries to say, I know you miss me. Come on. You know, I know you lonely. Like, I know you dealing with a whole bunch of stuff, instead of going to God and be like, God, this is how I'm feeling. What do you want me to do? Go around your sisters and brothers. God, this is how I'm feeling. What you want me to do? Go get in your word. Go to church. Go do this stuff. And if God is not and if you do not have that feeling to be around like-minded people, be around the saints, you listening to the wrong parent.
Come on. And like, that's what we had to do. We had to go to the parent that will talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, because he was like, hey, I see you.
Yeah.
Like, I know. And he starts to, and that's, I love God because he undoes. Yeah. He undoes all of what you've been taught. And so, like, what you said, he tells you to be isolated. God said, get around people. Like, he tells you, they tell you to be ashamed. God said, I don't want you to be ashamed of nothing. God, you give it, and so it's like, it tells you that, especially as a woman, I mean, as a woman watching that, of course it affects, for different genders or whatever, but as a woman watching that, we are who we think we are becomes depreciated. Yeah. Like, we no longer valuable. Like, this is one of the reasons, you get what I'm saying? Like, our value becomes less. Yeah. And sometimes then, especially, as you continue to watch it as a lady, you start thinking, maybe this is what I'm worth. Maybe, and like, that's where you said, like, the rape myths come in. Like, maybe I put this on myself. Maybe I did this to myself. And so, because as a woman, it depreciates our value. God says, I appreciate who you are. And when you said so many key things, Kim, because when I was being delivered from porn and I was being delivered from masturbation, God was like, God didn't deliver me from, deliver me by saying you don't want to feel like what you felt. He didn't do that, because, like you said, that don't work. That don't work. It don't work. Because in a moment you feel good, and that's for any sin. Yeah, God said, let me teach you how I love you. Right. Let me teach you what your value is. Let me teach you that this is good, but it's not for you yet.
Right.
let me teach you that you don't have to feel that certain way over and over again.
Yeah.
So God told me how he loved me. Like how he thought well of me. Because remember, we talk about all the time that this was the saying when we thought we was gonna die.
Hell, yes.
We thought we was gonna go to hell for this. And we was just like, cause I can't help it.
Yeah.
Cause it has mastered me.
Yeah.
You put that back. It has mastered me, and I don't know how to master it. Right? Because even though I love you, God, it's so strong. It's so strong because I've grew up with it. What we talking about? We talking about 8? We talking about 7?
Yeah.
To what? 16, 18? 19, 20? And like these, it's been with us for so long. It's been carrying us for so long. When we stress, when we need comfort, when we have that romantic desire to be loved, to be something, it's with us. So how will you? And God said, let me show you. Let me show you. I love you. Come here. Read my, like you said, read my word.
Read my word.
Pay attention to what I'm trying to tell you. And so when I got delivered from it, it wasn't because I didn't want to feel like that again. It was God saying, I'm with you. And we gonna fight it together because I know that you don't like doing this. I know that you want to resist it. I know you don't like that feeling. And it was like, he said, Bria, say no. Like God is a parent that say no. You have dominion over it. You don't got no dominion over you. So oh my goodness.
Like you said, even touching on testimony, I'm going, and that's what it's always you're okay. It's always you're okay and not correction. And so that's what God does. He loves us and he corrects us. But when you feel like, okay, I'm not being corrected, and a lot of times we feel love because we're not being corrected. Right? And that's not true love, right? If your parent is allowing you to do whatever you want to do, that's the genuine love is, hey, don't do this because you're going to get hurt. Don't sit on there like that. Even just the small corrections mean the word can stop a child from falling. I think about even us working with kids. I could say, I don't want y'all to get on that no more. I don't want y'all to do this no more. And it's not because I'm just being mean, but I see something that could happen and I don't want it to happen to you because I don't want you to get hurt.
Come on now.
Because it's not a possibility, but this is a possibility and you are going to get hurt if you keep doing this.
Come on now.
And when I was like, okay, there was a point in my life I said, I'm just going to hell. I'm just gonna go to hell. This. Like this is who I am. This is how I was created. Like but when God delivers, he delivers for real. But the thing is, because we think, okay, I haven't done it, but it's a continuum of trying to stay pure. Stay pure because of what you're used to. Because of what you've been around. And even another thing when I was studying this, and when you talk about women, talk about us as women, when we talk about this, a lot of times when you have dealt with this parent, there's two things you can either do. You can either be promiscuous, or you could say, I don't need men at all.
Exactly.
You could say, you could do either or. And when I was doing a study, when I was like, I got to be delivered from this. When I was studying, they said that statistics said that, and when women go out on dates, instead of having intercourse with their
man,
date, they tell them to please their self so that they don't fall into that
craziness.
I said that is nothing but the devil.
Come on now,
because it's not saying don't do it. It's saying here,
replace it.
Do this yourself.
Right.
We ourselves. Talk about selfishness and talk about, okay, I don't need a man. And that's why I said you can either be promiscuous or I don't need a man at all.
Come on now.
Because social media or that parent that nobody wants to talk about has done enough.
Come on.
Or I'm being pleased here. I go home, I ain't got to worry about A, B, and C, or D. I ain't got to do none of this. And so knowing that you are only self-harming yourself, when I saw that, I said, that is evil. It's
yeah.
demonic. It's witchcraft. It's everything
Yeah.
but God.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally because you are literally. I think it's everybody for themselves.
Yeah.
Not I'm gonna save myself. Not I gotta remain pure.
Yeah.
Not how can I remain holy and remain virtuous on this date.
Yeah.
But because everybody knows that it's okay to you can go ahead and have intercourse, but I don't want to. I'm just gonna do it myself because there's nothing wrong with that because the parent has already told us do this by yourself.
And that's crazy. Like how the enemy, he's like, I adapt. You don't want to do. I adapt. Oh, you even go in marriage.
Yeah.
He be like, oh, we got to watch this to do this, and so it's like we have to nip it in the bud. We got to go to the parent that will talk about it, which is God.
God,
like counsel God. Because he is in everything. He orchestrates anything in our life. He is the creator of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I remember the prophetess Tiffany, real quick, and we were at the end, but the prophetess Tiffany said, I hope you have good sex. I hope you have good. And I was like, whoa. It was meant for good. Because it was meant for good, and that's because the Father taught her that. Yeah. How it is good. Yeah. It is welcoming. It is, but it is sacred. Yeah. It is something that you should only be intimate with your spouse. And that's what a real parent teaches you. A disgusting parent or a bad parent tells you to do things that are not beneficial to you. Tells you to be by yourself. It tells you that when you're stressed, when you're in need of something, you can go to yourself. You don't have to go outside of anything. That's like the world today. Like they tell you, you can find everything that you need in you. It's it's not in the Bible, but fornication and adultery, which is any sexual immorality, which is that, especially because demons be operated behind the scenes in porn and in masturbation and in all sexual immorality, because that's their playground. That's what they love to do. So like that parent will teach you how to do that. Yeah. Whether as far as God, he says, hey, I'm about to teach you all things that are good for yourself. Yeah. Be amongst your people. Look at what you get that out of your eye, because what is perverseness, and you're gonna have to, because God is a God that deals with it. Yeah, He doesn't leave anything alone. So you're gonna have to deal with it anyway. As when you grow up and mature in Christ. So let's just stop it. Let's just nip it in the bud and stop right there. And so we have to go ultimately counsel God. Yeah. Learn of who God is. Learn of how He looks at us and how He loves us and how He thinks well of us and how He, even though that's good, as you got that desire. Now that's a natural desire. But let me teach you how to put it in perspective. What a good dad. Right. He
is really quickly, because I want to leave for those that are watching this and like, well, how do I get delivered? How do I stop doing this? I'm here. I've been doing this for so long, or I messed up. Yeah. I say this. I would say first pray, because how 100%. I might have been delivered is not the same way that Bria was delivered from this. And I had to physically at times throw myself in order to get up, in order to fight. My fight is a little different than your fight. Yeah. And just like I said, just feeling that is not going to stop me, because I've been under this master for so long that I had to physically when I'm feeling some type of, throw myself or not be in the, or I can't go home, or my acts of being delivered, God, I need you, was physical. I had to cry out to God. I had to, I had to scream out His name. There's many times I'm crying and screaming and everything, and not just that, not just breaking that, but it also had to come with repenting from those things that I also let in my body that wasn't my spouse, right? Yeah. So anything that I had connected myself with that wasn't that God didn't give me, because I'm not married, so I shouldn't have been doing anything, but I had to break covenant, right? Yeah. Not now knowing what it was, but I had to do those things in order. Okay, if it's so tight, if it's anything that I had to break that, if it was fasting, if it was, okay, God, I need you, crying out, whatever it may be, do that. If God is calling you to do something, do it. Don't think it's too, this is not that deep to do that. because that's what the very thing that I thought was too deep was what I needed in order to be delivered.
Come on now.
And so don't think, okay, this is I ain't got to do all that. I'm just gonna lay here. I'm just gonna and it'll just go away. The devil's not going to just go away.
Come on now.
You got to do something about it. You got to get up. You got to get in your word. You have to. You're not going to want to, but you're going to have, if you want to be delivered, you got to put some work into that. You got to do it because I once was where you were. And I once thought I could never be delivered. And I once thought I was going to hell. And I once was there, but by the grace of God, pulling me out. And said, that's not where I want you. That's not where. That's not the plans that I have for you. I had to do everything physically that he told me to do in order not to continue to fall into the sin.
And just even a quick encouragement to the parents, because, you know, people's kids, you don't necessarily know what your kids is doing behind closed doors. And so it's always mindful to like watch their behavior. Yeah. They being isolated, they can't wait. And like, you can see that because it's a spirit, you can see that there's a sexual spirit upon them. Like, pray over them. And of course, talk to your kids about it. Like, this is like, a lot of times sex is like, they don't want to talk to you. But that's because a lot of times parents have that still perspective, that polluted perspective, that God says, hey, your kids, they need it. They need to know that they are loved. They need to know that this is valuable, but in marriage. Yeah. They need to know that you don't need to be looking at that and you don't need to be by yourself. It's good to be in company with your brothers and your sisters. Don't be isolated. What is it? Isolated or isolationist. That's what they got. But encourage your children to like be in a business. Talk about it. Don't let PORN parent them when that's your responsibility. Yeah. Point them to God. So that's it. That was that's a little, you know what I'm saying? That's a little a weird topic or not talked about topic enough that it should be talked about all the time. Like we ain't giving no room for the enemy to have anything on our lives. So thank you for tuning in. God is so good. He's so faithful, and He will meet your needs always.
Always. Stay tuned for the rest of season 2.
Subscribe.